So good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Maldonado. I'm the programs coordinator here at the Corona Chamber, and I want to welcome you to this week's business briefing. We are going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone who is on the call live, as well as everyone who is going to be tuning in at a later date. Today is July 13th, and we have a ton in the news today that we are going to go ahead and get caught up on. So without further ado, I want to introduce Jeff Miller, our Legislative Action Chair of this year. He does a great job, keeping us up to date on what's going on in legislation. So we are really proud and excited to have him on board with us this year. So Jeff, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Great. Thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna thank our sponsor for today's meeting. Today is sponsored by Citrus Valley Medical Associates. Citrus Valley has been in our area since 1998, with roots going back 3 generations. They have 5 locations with 44 providers, including specialties in cardiology, gastrointestinal, neurology, among others. They also have an urgent care that's available 365 days a year. Thank you, Citrus Valley Medical Associates, for sponsoring this meeting. And before we get started, I just want to thank, looks like China Clark from the Office of Assembly Member Cervantes. We appreciate you coming on the call. We miss Brad, but we appreciate you joining in. Thank you. And with that, I would ask Paul Bender, the chair of the board, if she has any opening comments before we get started.
Thank you, Jeff. So lovely to see everybody, or see your name anyway, if you've got your screen off. Come on, people, put your video screens on. Just wanted to kind of say how when I opened my doors, and obviously we had that 2008-9 recession, how much I gained from just being part of the chamber and being part of a network that was here. We were here to support each other. And as the economy wobbles with one challenge or another, I think that always stands us in good stead to be part of a community where, especially on this course as well, you get information that helps you plan and navigate to keep your business in business, but also just to gain strength and hope from other peer employees and businesses as well. So I encourage you all to continue to be involved with the events that we're having. This upcoming recession, or the recession that we might be in, linked to inflation, is, I don't know if anybody saw the Wall Street Journal, but it's going to be kind of unique because it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to result in much higher unemployment. There's still a huge shortage of labor to fill the open job. So that's a kind of a wacky recession that we're going into. And so on that note, I know we'll talk about it in a minute. I encourage you all to join our job fair on Saturday, the 23rd of July. If you can't be there, be something, but no, please promote it, and also let people know about it. We know there are thousands of people that pass through Corona every day or live in Corona and they're miserable commuting. So really appreciate the support that you give us, and let's support each other to continue to grow jobs, create jobs, and build a stronger community. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Paul Bender. Thank you for all your dedication to the chamber. It's very much appreciated. If you want to make any comments, there's a little chat button on the bottom. Feel free to just click the chat and send any of your questions in. And now I'd like to introduce Vice President of Communications, Stephanie Shapiro.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. It is a great Wednesday here at the Chamber, and there are just a couple of things I wanted to share with you all, some upcoming deadlines that we have. So the first thing I want to share about is the 11th Annual Riverside County Women's Leadership Conference. It's just over a month away on August 25th. It is a half-day program, and we have 11 incredible speakers. That website you see on your screen there, mychamber.org/WLC, will take you to the photos and the bios and the links for all of the speakers so you can get a feel for what to expect. Men are, of course, welcome and encouraged to attend this event as well. And this year's theme is about taking charge. Whatever that means to you in your life in this moment, we want to help everyone unleash their own personal superpowers. So why am I talking about it now and the deadlines? Well, because this Friday is the early bird deadline, which means tickets are on sale. There's a $25 discount for the next couple days. And so if you know you want to come, we definitely want to encourage people to get their tickets early and get that savings locked in. We also have exhibitor opportunities and sponsorship spots available for this event. And we'd love to talk more about what to expect and how we can help promote each individual business within this conference as well. So thank you for that. The next thing I was going to share about is our job fair. So thank you so much, Paul Binder, for laying the groundwork and talking about why it's so important and how it's critical to our area here specifically, getting people off the freeways, improving their quality of life. This is for the unemployed and the underemployed and the far away employed. So we have two sides of it, right? So most of you on this call right now are business leaders. You yourself might be hiring. If you would like to participate in this job fair, today is the deadline to sign up to have a spot to be able to meet with those candidates. But regardless of if you're hiring or not, all of us know somebody who fits that profile that we were talking about, and we would really love for you to help us spread the word for the job seekers. We want to make sure that this event is flooded with people, great candidates that can go and work for our local businesses and make a difference right here in the greater Corona area. So it's just a week and a half away at this point, and there's a lot of incentives. There's going to be prizes, and we'll have a great morning. So any more information you want on that, you see the QR code on your screen, and Anthony will also put a link in the chat. The last thing I wanted to bring up to your attention today is about our next Good Morning Corona in August. It's on August 19th. We will be honoring the Corona Police and Fire Departments as a whole, as well as individual police officer and firefighter of the year. So it's a really special program where we get to bring our business community together with the men and women who keep our community safe. They're the ones that answer the call when there's a fire in our kitchens or there's a break-in at our business. And so to be able to make those personal connections, it's invaluable, and we would love to see you all there for that. So with that, I will turn it back over to Jeff. I thank you all for your time, and we hope to see you exhibiting, sponsoring, attending, or giving us a call anytime you need something here at the Chamber. Thanks so much.
Stephanie, we appreciate it. As you heard, Stephanie spent a significant amount of time talking about how we can create jobs in our community and get more jobs in our community. And I want to, on that note, I'm going to put Danny and Jim on the spot, if you don't mind. I always like to recognize any of the nonprofits that come onto our business call. Nonprofit organizations are so vital to the success and the fabric of our city. And I know I spoke with Danny a few days ago. You folks are hiring, correct?
We are absolutely hiring. We have, since COVID, we've been running about 20 to 30 people short of what it takes to meet minimums. At Peppermint Ridge, we're looking for entry-level folks, direct care folks. We're looking for a major gifts officer, nurses, LVNs, absolutely. We usually run about 165 employees at Peppermint Ridge, and it's been a challenge for the last couple of years, basically. We're doing better, but we could be doing even more so. Jim, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
No, that pretty much covers it, but we will be at the job fair.
Yes.
at Dos Lagos, not only talking about Peppermint Ridge, but looking to be able to fill those particular spots. And again, if anybody knows of someone who would be able to operate as a major gifts individual on our behalf, please send them our way. We're
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity
market.
to speak. Look for our red stripes.
And we see the vans around the community shuttling people around. So thank you very much. If you can put your contact information in the chat, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, that would be great. Or maybe if they're able to make a little donation, that would be even better. So thank you.
I would not
Thank
turn
you,
it
guys.
away.
Right. Okay, let's get right into the meat of the matter. The rubber hits the road with Jeff Gibson. Jeff Gibson is our political consultant. Jeff, for 35 years, has specialized in areas of political campaigns, government relations, government affairs. He has worked and specialized in areas of environmental issues and transportation issues and housing issues. He was the author of Jessica's Law back in 2006. And God, Jeff, with that, I think I'll just turn it over to you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I think everyone here has seen or will shortly see that inflation has hit 9.1%. If it were measured as it was in January 2009, I'm not sure what happened in January 2009, but a new administration came in and they decided to change the way inflation was read. Inflation would be into the deep 25-30% range year over year. Now, remember last year at this time, inflation was running about 5.2%. So if you add the 5.2 with the 9, so 9.1 is on top of that. So since essentially the end of 2020, we've seen prices on a monthly basis raise about 18%. So this is a serious problem that you're seeing globally. The dollar and frankly speaking, the rest of the world is actually in much worse shape than we are. China is looking at having zero growth and actually reporting zero growth. There have been periods of time in China that they have not reported zero growth, but they're looking at zero growth this year. The euro is actually trading at par, so basically $1, one American dollar to one European, €1, which is the second time that that's happened since the invention of the currency. So the Japanese yen is at an all-time low against the dollar as well. So there's lots of things going on. Let's just jump right into it. Of the 20 sectors that determine what is known as the Consumer Price Index that the Department of Treasury and the Federal Reserve monitor, 17 are over 9.1%. For the year. Gas prices, and this is not going to be surprising to us, are over 100%, basically 100% growth from June of 2021 to June of 2022. And if you remember, they were 100% higher from January 2021 to June 2021. So in that first 6 months of the current administration, gas prices doubled, and then they have doubled since. So obviously, there's a lot of different concern out there. We are working extremely hard to help you, which is one of the reasons why we defended the supply chain. We defended manufacturers in Corona, because Corona is home to smart manufacturing. And we've had a very close private-public partnership over the last 25 years to do that with industry. And that's why defeating AB 2840 was so important, which so far I can report is still dead, which is always good news. The bill that we're bringing before you is before Congress currently, has 114 members who have announced support. It is HR 6858. Which is looking to restore American energy independence by vacating a series of Biden administration executive orders that he announced on the day that he was sworn in, that did things like shut down pipelines and shut down permitted projects. So these are not new projects. These are actually projects that have gone through the environmental process, been approved for that process. So they've been analyzed. These are what used to be known as shovel-ready projects, and to get them back online. We know from those executive orders, by the findings within those orders themselves, that those orders cost 250,000 union jobs to pipeline workers and others across the United States. And so these are environmentally sensitive projects. This is as clean of energy as you can pump in the world. And since it is the official policy of the state of California between now and June of 2023 that we are going to be the largest buyer of coal energy in the world on the spot market, and the largest buyer of natural gas and heating oil on the spot market in the world, it is in our interest as a state to support HR 6858. That's why we're going to be going back to Washington, D.C. And when we do, that will be part of the bill package that we are supporting. So very happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know it is a change because we have been concentrating so firmly in this state since 2005 on climate change. We've invested over $1.5 trillion in climate change technology and renewable energy. As a result of that, the percentage of energy that we typically rely on in the state has now routinely hovers above 30%. We have achieved complete renewable energy for 48 seconds since 2005 in the California grid. And that was one of the reasons why the governor asked for the emergency capability to buy $17 billion worth of coal energy on the spot market, which was a recognition and in a bipartisan vote. The legislature supported that by a large majority. So as the state has decided to switch back to coal, we are interested in encouraging the state to stick to its climate change goals. And as we know, since we've switched to natural gas, emissions in the state of California have dropped by 60%. So HR 6858 is going to continue that effort. It's an industry-led effort. A lot of Corona-based industries use natural gas very effectively to lower their emissions. In fact, the only technologies most manufacturers are allowed to use by the South Coast Air Quality Management District are natural gas powered because they take care of the volatile chemicals that are used in the manufacturing process safely by burning them and then filtering the result of that burning, so that what you're releasing is clean air out of a factory in an energy efficient way. So happy to the world was pretty surprised when, as you can imagine, during the budget negotiation, the state announced that it was going to be such a large buyer of coal energy. But we have to do what's best for our manufacturers and our employers and the climate, and urge an aye vote on HR 6858 because it will continue the shift from coal to natural gas and more efficient forms of energy. So happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Jeff, can you explain just a little more in detail on why the urgency to buy so much coal and natural gas? And secondarily, can you kind of relate it to how it impacts Corona?
Sure, absolutely. So the because of the inherent inefficiency, so there is no capability currently on a large grid size So when you think of the energy grid needs to have what's known as a base load of about 85 to 90% of the energy that we use to remain powered up. That needs to be produced 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether it's windy, whether it's not windy, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, whatever happens, it's called a base load. So renewable energy has never been able to provide any sort of base load because you can't schedule it around the world. And because of the way electricity works in a universe that is ever expanding, it's called entropy. Heat dissipates. So if you're producing energy in the Mojave Desert with wind or solar, by the time it gets to the end user in Southern California, it is dissipated. Whereas energy that is produced more locally within the urban grid through natural gas, which has almost no emissions, as we know, because of the regulations that we all have agreed to live under, and we're happy to. You are able to use less energy to power that up. So what ends up happening in places like Corona and around the state, the Legislative Analyst's Office found that there were going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of hours net per day of energy blackouts that would be running between now and June of 2023. There was going to be a gigantic gap because the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant was going to be shut down. It's now been re-permitted through 2028. The San Onofre power plant was taken offline. That generated 16% of the energy that was used in Corona, 70% of the energy that was used in Orange County, and had zero carbon emissions throughout its lifetime. No accidents or any other issues, but it was taken offline and no energy was brought online. So 1 out of every 7 electrons or so that go through your home was eliminated, and so that's without any sort of replacement. And so what ends up happening is, over time, if you're not going to be replacing that with base load, then you need to look to other places where you can get base load. And so coal is used by 48 other states successfully. And I'm not pitching coal at all. In fact, we've worked very hard in this state, and I have, to switch to natural gas because you're getting 60% fewer carbon emissions, mercury emissions, all sorts of different emissions. And but that is when you're going to the spot market for energy, which we see, right? When you go to the spot market for oil, you're paying about $100 a barrel, or about $97 a barrel today. If you are in a long-term contract, you may be paying $50 a barrel or $25 a barrel. So coal, because it's very easy to turn on, very easy to turn off, and it's very flexible in that way, dominates the spot market nationally and internationally for energy. And that's where we've decided as a state that we have to participate to avoid blackouts. And it was not going to be isolated 30 hours of blackouts or 40 hours of blackouts. They were talking about thousands of hours of blackouts this summer in every urban section and suburban section and even rural section. There was consideration of shutting down large areas of the northern grid. So if you were much above Sacramento, you may have lost up to the Oregon border. There was a consideration of losing energy there for a couple of days at a time. So instead of looking at that, especially during an election year, the state decided that it was better to start to spend billions of dollars a month in the spot market and buying energy, which is both economically inefficient because it's so expensive, and it goes against all the climate change goals that we have here in the state that you as employers are paying, on and on and on. So there's very little recognition from the state, if any, that they are breaking the rules. You've not probably seen a lot of reporting on this, but it is going on, and it is something that is and we are such a large buyer that when a state like Texas, which actually has more, and believe it or not, Texas on a day over day basis has a larger carbon-free production of energy than California. And what's that gotten the state? That has gotten that state a energy rationing this month because they have 110-degree temperature in Dallas today. They have no wind, so they're not producing any wind energy. They've asked the Biden administration for precisely the permit authority that California has gotten to go buy other energy from other states. And the Biden administration has approved California and has turned Texas down. The last time Texas asked was during their great freeze of 2 years ago, of about a year and a half ago, in which 500 people died, and the Biden administration, in one of its first actions, turned Texas down for the right to buy excess energy from other states. So while California had just undertaken its first major buy of coal energy. So take it for what it is. We here at the Corona Chamber and in our efforts are going to continue to stick to climate change goals that make sense. Because they not only make sense for carbon emissions, but they make sense for the South Coast Air Quality Management District and the attainment there. And we believe that it's very important. So, but we will continue to hold the state accountable as it goes, as it remains a large buyer of coal energy. But happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Anything, Anthony?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, so moving on, as we talked about, just real quickly to wrap up, looking at the, we've got our September 19th through the 22nd. This is going to be almost every single time we've been in Washington, D.C. Pretty incredible things have happened. We've had speakership shifts. We've had a number of different, we've worked with Senator Feinstein's office on finishing the 30-year project on the Santa Ana River. We've helped advocate for the 91 and 15 funding. This is a very, very effective. We've helped the Corona Norco Navy base avoid BRAC. So these are very important trips. And if you can make it, it's we will have a group arriving on September 16th for tours and for different items, and then staying through start on September 19th and then through the 22nd. So happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
All
There
right.
are no questions.
Stun you into silence. Sorry, guys.
Stunned us into silence again. Thank you, Jeff.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, I'd like to, before I put Linda or Sam on the spot, because I want to get a quick update on COVID from the Regional Medical Center. I do want to, yeah, I think I'll just go there next. I sorry to put you guys on the spot, Linda, Sam.
No worries. I'll give you a quick update. We're seeing a significant increase in COVID cases. We are up to 21 patients today in-house, and we have 3 in ICU and 1 is on vent. And we're seeing a 50-50 almost mix of vaccinated versus unvaccinated. So there's a definite increase in COVID and in acuity of those cases. So, and we're also seeing a lot of our staff coming down with COVID, not because they got from the hospital, but they acquired it at home. But we're seeing that as well on the staffing side.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
I just want to thank, well, let's go to the next slide. If you need to reach out to our Senator Richard Roth or our Assembly member Sabrina Cervantes, there's their contact information on the screen. And we will continue our ongoing relationships with them and providing them information that is vital to the key of what we do here at the Chamber. And so I do want to thank China Clark from Assemblymember Cervantes' office for joining the call. Thank you very much. Annette Dumont from the Riverside County Office of Education. Thank you for joining the call. And from the fine city of Wildemar. Hi, Kimberly Davidson. So thank you. And does anybody have anything else before we close it up? Well, there you go. Have a wicked weekend and a wicked rest of the week. And we'll see you on Friday, hopefully at the Economic Summit. If not, we'll see you next Wednesday on our next call. So thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's time today. Meeting adjourned.